All right, we'll go ahead and get started. The information provided is for educational purposes and not intended as medical advice or a substitute for medical advice of a physician or other qualified healthcare professional. We do not aim to diagnose, cure, or prevent any illness or disease, and you should always consult with a doctor or other healthcare professional for medical advice or information about diagnosis and treatment. The information in this presentation has not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration or any other medical body. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Dr. Doreen Narbo, and I am your host on today's call. And for those of you who don't know me, I am a clinical researcher and an author of several books. So welcome everyone to our Tuesday call with Clayton Thomas, who is the founder of Root. He has over 25 years of experience in the health and wellness industry. And for the past 16 years, Clayton has focused on detoxification and supplementation formulations. A simple philosophy, cure the cause. Hello, Clayton, and welcome to our call.
Happy Tuesday. Happy birthday, Dr. Rao. I'm so excited because not only do we get to celebrate his birthday that he's here with us, but he gets to share.
Absolutely. So, but before we go to Dr. Rao, who was our special guest, we're going to recap last week. So last week we spoke about addictions, and I put together this little dashboard of our discussion, and we learned that addiction is a brain disease that is treatable. We also learned that the balance of serotonin and dopamine is the key. And the high on drugs only lasts for a few minutes. And by the time, 20, 30 minutes has gone, so is the high. So the top addiction is alcohol because it's so readily available. And we also learned that toxic metals downregulate essential neurotransmitters. And one thing that I thought was really interesting as well is that this critical age over here, this window that we have between the ages of 12 and the early 20s, like I said before last week, it takes time for the brain. The brain starts developing back here. This is the direction of the brain development. And it takes this amount of time here till you're 20 to actually develop judgment in your prefrontal cortex. So this is where you make your executive decisions. But one thing that we didn't talk about was the caregiver. And I think that is really important because the caregiver can have, not just burnout, but something called compassion fatigue, which has been described as the cost of caring. And for others, it's, emotional pain. It refers to profound emotional and physical erosion that takes place when helpers are unable to refuel and regenerate themselves. And sometimes caregivers themselves become addicted and depressed. So please, anybody on this call, know someone. You may even be a caregiver. Most of you are caregivers in some form or another. Take care of yourself, get rest, reach out to support groups, and learn to develop coping strategies.
And know that there's more to family than just blood. And that one of the reasons that we're here with the Root community is to provide strength within that, so people have a platform to ask questions, to learn, but also have the ability to become amazing. Because just like the addiction process, a lot is dopamine and serotonin. The caregiver, and a lot of times it's people that are very empathic, that they will give and 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 then collapse. You have to be sure that in all aspects you're taking care of yourself, because just like we've talked about numerous times, if you're on an airplane and the oxygen masks come down, they tell you you have to take care of yourself first. You can't help anyone else if you're not taking care of yourself. So as Dory was mentioning, reach out. It doesn't have to be here, but know that you have people around you that love you and that are here to support you, and know that you have those references, and you do have a lot of them here. That's why this is community. It's family. So use it. And we love you guys, all of you.
Absolutely. Okay, moving on. Well, as we know, we have our special guest. Drum roll, please. Who has, and look, I gave him a birthday hat. I couldn't find one for myself, so I just put one on this, our special guest.
I love the golden hat, and it's tilted a little bit to about 2 o'clock, so it's pretty good because he's winding the clock back.
That's right. I know he hates this picture, but I like it.
Give you another.
Pick another? Is that what you said?
Yeah. Please wait a moment.
So Dr. Rao graduated with the University Diploma in Human Biology at the Institute of Physiology, Department of Medicine at the Phillips University in Marburg. He studied at the Institute of Medical Microbiology and Virology at the Department of Molecular Oncology and the Institute of Biochemistry at the University of Gießen, where he received his PhD. He worked with oncogenes, retroviruses, HIV, and viral research. And after his PhD, he studied economics with a focus on marketing, which also led to a diploma in economics. And in addition, he also taught medical assistants anatomy and physiology. And in the pharma industry, he worked for Novartis in Switzerland, Klinge Pharma in Munich, with, in cardiovascular, pulmonology, and pain management sectors. And in the late 90s, he founded his own company in pain management, orthomolecular medicine, muscle stimulation, and lectured for healthcare professionals. He was also a product manager and medical device developer for pain management, electromuscle stimulation, cranial mandibular dysfunction. And now, please note, I'm just kind of skimming over. I mean, he's much more. So he was a practice consultant for the German Association for Medical Doctors. He was an independent trainer for Siemens, lectured for 20 years, training healthcare professionals on cell communication, muscle coordination, viral dynamics. And Dr. Rao has 2 additional diplomas in dyslexia, dyscalculia, and a special education in autism and ADHD. And if all that were not enough, he found the time to co-author an Amazon #1 bestseller called Wake Up Miracles. He currently has a complementary and integrative medicine practice, including Ayurvedic, biofeedback, nutritional counseling, pain therapy, energy medicine, heart rate variability, specializing in massage technique called the Dorn Method. And he also serves on the medical advisory board for NIGELLA. He is an expert coach and a consultant for occupational health management companies. He's lectured around the world about medicine, brainwave, and heart rate variability. And so Dr. Rao is always interested in scientific research beyond Western medicine. So without further ado, Dr. Stefan Rao will talk to us today about his HRV test results on the Root products. And again, happy birthday, Stefan. Welcome to the call.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you being here. And thank you to the audience for being here for this special lecture or for this special call we have here. And what it's new, I'm a medical advisory board of a German Institute of Applied Osmopractic. We are looking for problems with the aromatherapy. This is new, and therefore we are doing the tests. But we need all the people know that here. We need 80% passion. We need just about 15% of your testimonials, and only 5% we need science. And these 5% we want to talk today. And I want to show you some results, give you a view of oxidative stress, and I hope I can share my screen now. Yeah.
Yes, you can.
Okay. You can see?
Yes.
Okay. First of all, I do a test last night. You see that yesterday at 12 o'clock, 1 minute before midnight. And I do a test 4 minutes later today. And I'm improved my biological age from 33 to 34. Fantastic.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I'm used, before I'm used 10 drops of the clean slate, I'm used 2 Zeroin and a Restore. Okay, let's start. I have, before we starting, I have one question. Do plants have a brain or not? If so, then where is it present? This is a question at the audience here. Something like a brain, you know that this is not brain plants have. But what do you think? Where's the brain of the plants? I will tell you.
Because they don't take reservations.
The botanical brain is in the root. And this is what Charles Darwin, 1880, in his book, Power of the Movement, told us here. The brain being seated within the interior end of the body, receiving impressions from the sense organs and so on. But you understand this is not a brain like we have, animals have, but you can imagine that there is a similarity to the roots in plant. And scientifics in Germany just investigated this 10 years ago. What we see here, plants have a controlling brain-like structure. And this structure is responsible for the perception of the surrounding environment, the communication through chemical secretions. You understand when you have the next walk in the forest, you have to imagine that the roots are connected in the soil. There is a communication between the trees. Cooperation is important, the social interaction in the forest, for example, and the adaptation to environmental conditions. This is interesting, I think so, yeah. But I want to recap also what I've told you last year in one of these calls about the dynamic homeostasis of this model I had here. The mobile of dynamic homeostasis. There are 4 conclusions we have. The healthy person has a good ability to regulate. For example, someone who regulates well cannot be chronically ill. This is the first conclusion of the regulation, I would say. The second is, if you have an acute disease, you still have a good regulation because you can deal with this. When you get chronic diseases, there is often a regulation disorder beyond, yeah? And the third conclusion is, it's not the disease that impairs the ability to regulate, it's the opposite. Disturbed regulation abilities causes illness. It's often in these neurological diseases. And the fourth is regulation disorder can be affected by many factors and injuries, multiple stresses, I would say. Their causes are often far in the past. We have to look in the generations before what happens there. Yeah, the autonomic nervous system, the ANS, I will say, is involved in all these disease processes, and this is what we can see with the heart rate variability. I will show you later. But I also want to recap what are the factors influencing health here. And you just see that there are 6. Food is one of the most important. We want to perhaps talk later. The sports, you have to do sport to train your brain. The mind is one of the most important deals today. What happens with the information you get in this time we have? Environment, we talk in this very interesting called story does in the last couple of months. pharmaceutical drugs, and also the vaccination is one of the big deals today. I would say vaccines are unsafe for human use. Yeah, you have to keep children away from this poison. And the last one we have seen in the fourth conclusion is the epigenetics. What you see here is the son, father, and his grandpa. Yeah. This is a model I have when I'm talking about how diseases occur. We have three windows. At the left side, we have one window. There we can find the oxidative stress. And you see this mobile I have here. There are these ROS, these reactive oxidative substances. And you see that this mobile get impression in this window. And we have a lot of things here are working in the products of root. And when you have a lot of stress in your body, this will lead to an inflammation. First of all, an acute inflammation, perhaps then a chronic inflammation. In these two windows, this doesn't hurt you. You have no pain. For example, in the inflammation, it's one of the problems. We have also pain, but you see that there is a lot of pressure in this mobile here. You've got a lot of ROS and other substances here, and this mobile is bending. And what happens in the last window, the biggest one on the right side, you have a disorder or the disease. And there are a lot of diseases. We don't want to talk about diseases here when we're talking about the products of root, but you see that this mobile here is disrupted. And this is the problem we have with the homeostasis when we get a disease. And you know what Christina said one time? First of all, I want to say these two windows we want to talk about in root. And you know what Christina said? Cure the causes, not the symptoms. In the past, I often said, cure the curables, because I know that not everyone is curable. Sometimes these people have a problem. This is one model I have to explain. And also, only these first two windows we have to look for. We are not looking for the diseases. These are the multiple stresses I will show you here. And you see some people have strong constitutions, some have weaker constitutions. There are a couple of multi-stressors. And let's go through these plates we have here at this table with these guys. Disrupted endocrine system, for example, infections, insufficient sleep, or job stress, financial are big deals today. An information overload, food intolerance, lack of exercise, I told you. Decreased sun exposure is one of the important deals in summer when people want to protect their skin with these stuff. Yeah, vitamin D. We have intestinal imbalances, microbiome. We talked about the toxins and the lack of exercise. Okay, the structural imbalances, relationships. There's one, the SAD. Clayton, do you know what this means, the SAD? S-A-D?
Seasonal affective disorder.
No. Simply American diet. Do you know any simply American diet?
Oh, it's trash. Well, corn dogs, baby.
There are the corn dogs here.
Yes.
And all these plates have an effect on your autonomic nerve system, ability to regulate you. And the HRV will show you how people can juggle with these multiple stresses. Yeah, this is important to understand. We are talking about the addiction. This is a young girl. It's 5 years ago. It was in an English paper. Mother who drank about 20 cans of this stuff. She got pregnant, had it, and then she started to drink this stuff for about 4 years and changed completely her body. She spent every year 2,300 pounds only for this stuff. But the doctors said, you are alcoholic. And you can understand this. Food is one of the most important inputs we have for our for our system. Yeah. Okay, this I stayed last week. These are pictures from last week. You see what I want to say. Shopping in the supermarkets, like rummaging sometimes through a toxic waste dump. Only a little bit cleaner and more expensive. What we see, sugar, food additives we have to talk about, perhaps in the future. We have to talk about the artificial food we have here, and also the antibiotics. Yeah. And these are leading to oxidative stress in your body. This is a model I created a couple of years ago, and you are the iceberg. Yeah, every one of you is the iceberg, and you have these plates in your environment. You get these plates every day. They were leading to an oxidative stress, then to an inflammation, and then you have the first symptoms. And what are you doing when you have some symptoms? You have a disease. Yeah. What are you doing when you have a disease? You go to your doctor. He gives you a jab or some medications. And if it gets weaker, what are you doing? You have to go to the hospital. This is the way how you get an illness. The only thing the doctor will see is above the waterline. This is the physical or biochemical level. You're doing some measurements. We also do measurements with the ECG and the HRV, but we can see more. You do some blood testings or reflexes, but this is only the level you can see. There are some other levels underwater, and these are the energetic levels, emotional, mental levels, and spiritual levels. And you understand the energetic level, chakras, meridians. We can see also in our system. Some doctors will do some acupuncture. You see the emotional levels, the anxiety, worries, thoughts, and aggression and feelings, and mental levels also important. The belief patterns. What are you thinking? And the spiritual level too. And you can understand that 80% of this iceberg is underwater and 20% is over water. One question: what do you think? How you can move this iceberg? At what point you can move this iceberg from one point to the other on the to the left side, for example? Do you think you can move this iceberg here above the waterline or under the waterline? The best points we can move this iceberg are here underwater. And then you have to understand it's not possible to move a disease over the borderline. This is not possible. You also have to look to the other levels underwater. And this is a model you understand why often this is not working with medications or drugs. I also want to talk a little bit about the impact of oxidative stress. And yesterday we talked in this call with Clayton, can I use this C word? And I changed my presentations because I only want to talk the oxidative stress. And this is what we see here, the impact of oxidative stress, damage induced by environmental stresses on this C infection. And you understand, when we are looking at these environmental stressors here, this is important. They are influencing the sympathetic nervous system, the autonomic nerve system. Yeah. And then we have an influence to our immune system, which leads in the end to problems of our homeostasis in the immunological system. And then we have a problem with our homeostasis. There's a really new work from last year, October. This is another one. You see here the exogenous and endogenous sources of oxidative stress damages above and here below. Yeah. We have a lot of calls about different of these oxidative stresses here. Heavy metals we talked about, certain trucks, dichemical solvents. Yeah. The antioxidants we have here are the masterpiece of Mother Nature to prevent illness. This is often what we see. And we have a couple of these antioxidants in our products. A little bit about the science about the products. Clean Up Till Light, I've showed you last year. This is one of the most interesting scientific papers a couple of years ago, 2 years from 2018, showed that the Clean Up Till Light has an effect on the detoxification. We know that, an antioxidant effect, and also supports the microbiota, the influence of the microbiome. We can see here, this is new. This is from May, last month, 14th May. Use of Clean Up Till Lights to absorb the antibiotics we have in our environment. And when we look what happens in the last 20 years from 1995 to 2015, these red countries, they're most polluted with the antibiotics in rivers and seas. And tremendously what happens here. And Clean Up Till Light is one of the best things to detoxify antibiotics. And on the right side, you see the binding and neutralization of one of the most important microbiota we have in our microbiome. It's major public health problems worldwide. It's the Clostridium difficile, it's called. And we can bind and neutralize these toxins of these bacteria with a Clean Up Till Light. This is the influence of Clean Up Till Light on the microbiome we have. Science behind the ingredients of zeroin. This is also very interesting. I give you here an overview. We have the caffeine, green tea, the pine bark extract, vitamin D, turmeric, and the mucuna pruriens. And these are the ingredients. You see what are the description and the notes, and we are here in every cap of the zeroin, we have 1,000 units of vitamin D, for example. And this is a perfect combination. But I only want to look here at the turmeric, and when we look at the, you also know zeroin increases the neurotransmitter dopamine, serotonin, and therefore also the melatonin. And when we have a look on the melatonin, we're talking some couple of calls here. It's a silver bullet in treating people who are infected with DC. And this is interesting because we have an influence of our immune system. The most people think melatonin is connected with a circadian rhythm. For me, it's one of the most important targets in the immune system. And it's also a very important substance in plants for their immune system, building in the root of plants. This is an overview over the effects melatonin has as a therapeutic agents in these infections, and you can see what happens here. On the lungs, on the inflammation, we still have this cytokine storm because of the oxidative stress. The effects on the immunological system, you see here. There are a couple of targets melatonin has. This is also a really new work. And here are some effects. We talked about the anti-inflammatory effects. One of these windows I showed you before, and the antioxidative stress, but also the antiviral effects. This is interesting. This is susceptibility to COVID-19 in patients with autism. And the people who are having autism today suffering from imbalance of normal levels of melatonin. And they're in a special situation in this time. And you have to understand that melatonin has also protective effects on the oxidative stress. Some science behind the Restore, the new product we have. And here you see what's in there. And we have also the flaxseed oil here and the turmeric, the most important, but also the apple cider vinegar, which supports the microbiome. We have the ribose, the resveratrol, aloe vera. Monk fruit is also an interesting fruit as a sweetener, and also contains a couple of terpenes and the raspberry ketones. And when we have a look at these ingredients, we see that there are two. The flaxseed oil is a prophetic medicine, and the turmeric extract is the golden spice. It's the golden is not only for the color, it's for more. And when we have a look at some interesting papers here, we see this is amazing. The interaction between the microbiome and the turmeric, it's a reciprocal interaction between the curcuma and the microbiome. The reciprocal interaction between curcuma and the microbiome. The curcuma supports the microbiome, but also the microbiome, when you have the right microbiome, builds metabolic substances from the curcuma. This is a reciprocal interaction between both. And this is interesting to understand. This also is about the C, I would say. And you see that there's a couple of targets here on this virus. Here are the interactions of curcuma in these pathways. We also have to have a look at the pathways, but this is very complicating to look at the pathways. We have only to understand curcuma is the golden spice. And you also have an effect on the hemostasis, on the blood, on the thrombocytes. This is also really new work 4 weeks ago, I think so. And this is another one. We just talked about the black cumin. The ingredient are thymoquinone, and here are the targets of the thymoquinone in your body, in the human body. This is also a really new one. No, and this is from 2017. And this is amazing. Here you see the benefits. This is a really new one from the 24th May last month. Shows you the effects of the black cumin on the oxidative stress and inflammation and immune responses. This is amazing work you can get in the internet, and it's really nice to read these things. You know everything about the black cumin. And this is also one of the targets we have here with the black cumin and this infection. Okay. But we want to talk about the heart rate variability system. You want to see some results. I have done a couple of weeks before. Here you see an overview of the system. We are measuring health with the heart rate variability. On the right side, you see the languages we have in this system, and there are more than 50,000, 100,000 scientific papers. The role of the heart rate variability in different organ systems. There's 70% of all diseases you can prevent with the stress prevention, for example. Yeah, we measured only 5 minutes for a short measurement, but you understand that we only take a picture of your system when we get a measurement for 5 minutes. Here are some versatile functions of our system we have. We can use this system for the pre and post comparison and the pharmacologically and supplementation that I will show you with a products of Root, but we also can use the system in fitness and competitive sports to see how people who are doing sport are overtrained. We are using the system for a couple of in the sport in Germany. We use this in the workplace health management, also for medical and healthcare services and dietary counseling, and also in the spa and wellness. This is now interesting, the heart rate variability more than heartbeats. The HRV is the best biomarker for living longer and increasing longevity. And it's an easily accessible marker for the healthy lifestyle. And when you see what happens in your body, these are all these metabolic pathways. I learned some of them, not all, but forgotten a lot of them at the university. And you understand this is very complicated. We don't need formula here, but you understand that when the homeostatic capacity and the adaptability is the key of the health and resilience and longevity. And when you have only a lack of one of these pathways, you have a problem. But the HRV is more than the autonomic nerve system. We have to look also at the physiological system which influencing the HRV. For example, I told you in this mobile, the nerve system, the sinoatrial node is the pacemaker of your heart. You have to look at the respiration system and these endocrinological, immunological, and metabolic functions. You understand when you're missing one enzyme, you're not in homeostasis in your processes. Yeah. And therefore, the HRV is a global indicator for determining the individual health state. NIGELLA stands for Nonlinear Analytic Systems for Medicine and Vitality. And here's the first measurement we have with the roots restore. This is the design of this measurement we have. We do the first test on the Sunday, the 30 May at about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and the second 2 hours later at just about 6 p.m. 2 hours later, only with restore. And you just see these slides before when I had this call last year about the heart rate variability. On the left side, you see before, and on the right side, after this measurement. 5 minutes, then this client took one restore, and then this is on the right side, the measurement 2 hours later. And what we see here is the ECG, the electrocardiogram. Below there is the rhythmogram. You see it's not, it's just a line, yeah. And on the right side, you see it's like waves at the beach in the water. This is more resilient. Here are the different systems we have, and these levels we have here, A, B, C, D. In conclusion, are the health index and the heart rate variability increases, or the health index increases up to 37% after using the restore. This is one of the most interesting things, how to, what happens with the stress. You see also here above before and here after this test. And on the right side, we have the stress index. The stress index was really good with 183, but after taking restore, it reduces the stress index up down to 87. Here you see these ranges. There's another slide. It's about the totally power. Here you have an explanation of this totally power, the scales of the values, and the normal range is from 2,300 to 4,500. In the first test we made, the totally power was up to 835, really low. And after using restored 2 hours later, it was at 2,600, the totally power. It's amazing. It's increasing also totally power, but only in the timeline. It needs a little bit. This is the neurohormonal regulation also increases. Root restore, ameliorate the neurohormonal regulation. Here is an explanation of these charts we've done here before. It was really good, and after, amazing. And you see here, stable neurohormonal balance after taking it. It increases from 64 up to 95%. It's amazing. The energy is one of the most important things because I told everyone you have to do you have to increase your energy. It's so important. And when we see here in the first test 170 energy resources, and later after taking it 353, and the energy balance also ameliorates. Next test is the brain. It's interesting, the brain, to see. We have here a small slide, a small film. Perhaps you can see this. There is still some action here in the brain before the psycho-emotional state is at 49. And after taking it, this is working very well and very fast in the test room. When you stay in the test, you can see very quickly what happens there. And also the brain waves. So today we said it's a peripheral brain continuum. You see that there is an increase to from disorder, stress, fatigue to a cognitive capability. And here's an explanation of these different areas of the brain waves. Amazing. In this numbers here, in this area, you are in the present. Yeah. Biological age. This lady at about 55 years old, and in the first test 48. And after using the restore 2 hours later, she is 34. And this is an overview over these levels you see before. It's like a pie. You can see here the ABCD and the health index. We have some other measurements about the natural or Eastern medicine, and we can see the aura before and after improves the energy field of the aura. These are the chakras before and after, and this is an explanation from the software, and we have this explanation in the software as well as in the manual we have here, and you can see where it increases or not. And we also can see in the next slide what happens with the meridians. It's amazing. This is a resume, and you see here the regulatory hierarchy of these A, B, C, D levels and what happens here. And above are once again the ECG and the rhythmogram. And you see very quickly where you have an improve in these different levels here. But in this case, the health index is plus 37%. This is about the restore. Now we want to talk about the Trinity, and you know what Trinity means. For Clayton, it means Control, Alt, Delete. Control your brain, alternate your microbiome, and delete your toxins. And you find these three things in root. Again, here you see reset, control, detoxify, and alternate. And the Trinity stands for zero in, restore, and clean slate. I hope you're ready for your great reset. I'm still looking at other great resets, but you have to look here for your great reset. It's the same measurements, but the second test is after 20 minutes. It was on Friday, the 4th June, the morning at 8:30, and the second test at about 8:50, 20 minutes, about 20 minutes. And we see the same here. Here is an increase from 48% in 20 minutes after using the Trinity. You see these waves here, the more waves. Just like in the other test. This is also the stress level was very good before, and after it was 46. But I want to show you some other slides because this is the same as before. We show you some vitality measurements we have here. You see the vitality increases from 46 up to 433 in about 20 minutes. And this is one interesting point, because when you see that the vitality is very low, you have to think about detoxification or gentle therapies. This we have before, increase of the energy pyramid. But also we can see what happens with the biological age from 53 to 32. It's amazing. This is the biorhythm. Root Trinity harmonizes your biorhythm. When you think about the biorhythm, you also have to think about the melatonin. Not only because of the circadian biorhythm, but it's very important to understand when you have too much cortisol in your body, you have problems. And this influences your circadian rhythms and other biorhythms too. And this is an harmonization with Trinity of the biorhythms, up to 97%. We also have these alternative medicine measurements, the aura from 48 to 96, the same results. Here, once again, the meridians. And what I want to point out is the special measurement about the doshas. Also, we can measure in this system. And there is an interesting scientific paper 5 years ago about the doshas brain type. We have to look on the, we can have a look on the brain types of some people. And important thing is that these three doshas have to be in balance. This is important. But this paper is so interesting. And I know that I'm more the pitta brain type, but others are more vata brain type. And you have to look what's behind there. When you see the pitta brain type, people are stronger reactions to challenges or tenacious. For example, I know that I'm tenacious sometimes, goal orientated, and these measurement also we can do here with this heart rate variability of Niels. Okay, here is the resume of this measurement, the same as before. The health index increases to 48%. And you can have a look on these different levels here in the regulatory hierarchy. It's not important to be better than someone else, but to be better than yesterday. And this is from Kana Jigoro. I do a lot of sports in the past, also Taekwondo. And some of you perhaps know Jigoro. Jigoro is the founder of the judo. And you have to go on your how it's called in English, I don't know, on your border. Yeah. It's not important to be better than someone else, but to be better than yesterday. At least I want to show you a single case study of the root Trinity and the ROFUS. The ROFUS stands for Register of the Functional Emotional State Assessment. We do a test with this device very quickly at the wrist. And then we can see there's a first test with the Trinity. On the left side, you see the functional state of different organ systems. On the right side, you see the energy resources. This is the first test without. This is the second test with the root Trinity, about 20 minutes later. And you see an improvement of the energetic resources here. And I do another test, the third test, and you see in the third test, it improves again. Change a little bit, but improves again. We can compare these three tests in this system. This is here on the left side without. This is the first, and this is the second. This is without using Trinity, the first test and the second. Yeah, these are these tests. At the end, finally, I want to show you some for what root can stand. Have a look here. Perhaps for reset, control, detoxify, or alternate, or for respectable, outstanding, open-minded, or top quality, or results optimum organic. This is one of these things. Clayton said, I'm organic. I'm organic. He also said, we create greatness. This is some brainstorming I've done this morning to show you for what root can stand. Greatness, confidence, motivation, attitude. Or for brain, microbiome, homeostasis, or neurotransmitter. For example, take your words, find your own bar here in this explanation. Okay, I'm nearly at the end. For a better digestion, I drink beer. In appetite, I drink white wine, red wine for low blood pressure, with high blood pressure cognac. And when I got a cold, I take Slivovitz. And when you drink water, I never had such a severe illness. Be in balance. And at least some slides about balance. That's not me, perhaps in future. Be in balance. This lady is 88. This is not balanced. This is opening a bottle of water. This is the work you have to do when you want to get fit in when you're old. Okay, this is balance. But what you have to understand is that the heart rate variability has a lot of phases. Yeah. That's the end. And here I want to close this presentation.
That is amazing. I think everybody's a little bit awestruck to see the data. So thank you so much. What an epic birthday present that you gave to everyone else.
This is the first birthday presentation I gave. Normally I have some time to train my presentations, and today I had no time. And doesn't matter that Germany lose in the game with football and soccer or
yeah. So here's a question for you, because your career has been pretty expansive. Have you seen another product line or a series of products that are causing the shifts like this?
With this one test here, when I do this test here, I never see that these is so over the time so constant. How to say constitute. Yeah. Sometimes these products are changing very quickly. What are you doing? But I understand your Control Alt Delete. This is important to understand. It's
yeah.
You have to understand Control Alt Delete like on your computer, that you have to get out of this trash. Yeah. You have to trash you have in the environment or you have in your food every day. And it's more and more and more. Yeah. The people don't see this trash or these artificial food substances, or we also have to talk about the food additives, or perhaps talking about these skin protecting stuff. Yeah, that's right. You will have UVA and UVB. Yeah.
Dory,
I don't know where.
We're missing you.
I'm right here. I'm just taking it all in. What an amazing presentation. Thank you so much. It was so full of fantastic information. You really did a fantastic job.
For the first time, yes, I have to train before, because I had no time. Because I had to do this test tonight to show you that I'm.
What do you mean you had no time? I gave you lots of warning. Oh, I see.
And Dory,
do it for your birthday.
Dory's trying to rival Claire right now. She's like glowing on camera. Good Lord, woman.
What?
You've been doing your facials. Your skin's popping off the screen. Skin's amazing right now.
I took 2 Seroin yesterday night at 11:30, and I took 2 in the morning yesterday. Never I will take in future 2 at the night at 11:30. Never.
What happened?
Oh, because you can't sleep.
Yeah. Well, you can't sleep. Your brain's probably going.
When you want to do this test, you have to do it, and then you're waking half the night, and okay.
Wow, thank you so much again, and of course, happy birthday.
Happy
Bye-bye.
birthday to you.